Love 15. Love 13.
One of the things Sabalenka did really well in her last match against Danielle Collins was playing aggressively, but cutting back on the unforced errors. Here she's got an immediate opportunity.
Fifteen 13.
It's been a really quick start from Sabalenka, 2 break points already.
15,
Pliskova had that very long match you mentioned against Azarenka in the last round, over 3 hours on court. The longest match in a few years. Just wonder how much that will carry over.
A quick start from Sabalenka, a pretty loose opening service game from Karolina Pliskova.
First game.
Sabalenka immediately breaks.
And Pliskova just didn't quite look ready to serve. Interesting that she elected to serve first. Usually you try to gauge that yourself before the match and sometimes give yourself a chance to hit a few balls from the ground before risking your serve. But it's Sabalenka here with the early advantage.
Aryna Sabalenka to serve. Love 15.
When you've been 6-2, 5-1 down in a match, Chanda, you've saved match points, you've come through that match. Does that just free you up the rest of the tournament? Do you think, well, I'm pretty lucky to be here anyway?
I think it does. I think it just allows you to stay, get more into the moment and stay in the moment in subsequent matches. You start to kind of let go of the desire to, to win and thinking about losing. When you are that close to being out of the tournament, you've got to let those thoughts go. And I think that for any player is a freeing moment and usually can show in your next rounds.
Third 15.
This is heavy hitting from Sabalenka and with good depth as well. Swinging away freely.
Oh. Oh. 14-13.
It's the first.
And if you're going to double fault, it's probably a better time when you have a little bit of a cushion with a couple of game points.
Deuce.
This is always the challenge, though, is just trying to get the energy up and get yourself into a match. First match up, crowd hasn't quite filled in all the way either.
Very good second serve there from Sabalenka. Good combination.
Advantage, Sabalenka.
It's almost like you've got to create your own atmosphere out there. Really get the energy up. Try to be positive from the start. And right now, Sabalenka is doing that just a little bit better.
Good defending from Pliskova.
Deuce.
Heavy hitting once again from Aryna Sabalenka.
And Pliskova smartly using the slice just to give herself a little more time to get back to the middle of the court and defend.
Let's look at Jez Green in the background there. Leos Friedel in the foreground, working with Karolina Pliskova now. He's been with her for a couple of years, on and off. Oh, found the line with the volley.
Pliskova had anticipated. She was there on that forehand, but Sabalenka with good intensity didn't give up on that point. Pliskova's husband as well.
Deuce.
Well, the struggles in this game really started with that double fault at 40-15 up here, Sabalenka.
Advantage, Sabalenka. Game,
So eventually comes through. Slightly harder work than perhaps it should have been for Sabalenka, but she does back up the break.
Sabalenka leads
by two games to love.
First set.
Now, Pliskova really made Sabalenka have to work for it. Took advantage of a couple of double faults as well, but now it's important for Pliskova to try to get herself going, get on the board, establish something on serve.
You mentioned the energy Chandler playing these early matches. Do you think it affects someone like Karolina Pliskova more? Because, I mean, she comes across as though she's almost so laid back, she's horizontal. And I think sometimes she needs that little burst of energy from the crowd to feed upon.
Yeah, I think it certainly can. You know, affect a player like her maybe a little more, although, you know, it would be challenging for anyone. Early morning, not quite going yet. She would have had to get up, do her warm-up, try to get herself going, and this match did start at noon local time, but in a lot of places, that's still kind of morning. They haven't quite crossed over yet. And we talked about that tough match she had in the last round against Azarenka. I think that has probably more, may have more to do with it than anything. But that match against Azarenka was over 3 hours. She hadn't played a match that long, probably 3 years or so, and has been building her ranking back. Hadn't had a lot of matches earlier in the year. Started to turn that around recently.
Left for serve.
Been a brilliant start from Sabalenka again. That backhand almost onto the baseline. Chance for the double break.
Pliskova got to find ways to get her first serve going.
Yeah, Sabalenka.
A little apology there from Sabalenka. Put that return into a very awkward spot. Double
Sabalenka
break confirmed. She leads 3-love.
First set.
So plenty of people coming into Ash. Sabalenka a double break in front. 3-love.
Sit down, please.
Yeah, it's just big first strike tennis from Aryna Sabalenka right now.
This is one of the reasons why Sabalenka has been able to really play well in spite of the double faults. It's because her serve is so big when she does get it in. She can still get free points, and occasionally it sets up that huge weapon.
Wide.
30-15.
Oh, this is huge at the moment from Sabalenka, really dictating things out here.
Yeah, and It's a combination of the pace and the placement. That ball driving Pliskova wide gave her plenty of court for the forehand volley.
Let's pursue.
Pliskova really does have a beautiful backhand, and when she gets behind it solidly like that, she can hit it just about anywhere.
Game.
First
Sabalenka.
ace for Aryna Sabalenka, so she continues her quick start and races out to a 4-love lead.
4 games to love, first set.
This is just what you want to do if you are Aryna Sabalenka.
Well, you can download the US Open app to follow your favorite players, track the latest scores, stats, match highlights, player news and more. It's available in the App Store and the Google Play Store.
Sabalenka trying to return to the US Open semifinals for the 2nd year in a row and get off to this good of a start. Bit of a dream.
Winner goes flying past Karolina Pliskova.
15-0.
I mean, these two, they've had some battles, and going out on court, you're never quite sure where your opponent's going to be. You hope you can be where you need to. But this is taking advantage of opportunity.
Let's pursue.
Sabalenka continuing to press the issue as well. Pliskova needs a few more of those. Slowly, she's getting more first serves going. Right about 50% his first 2.5 service games.
I
mentioned how many battles they've had in their previous meetings. 3 of their 4 previous meetings have gone the distance. Only one that didn't was actually their last one in Montreal 12 months ago. Pliskova won that 3 and 4.
Game, Pliskova.
Much better game from Pliskova. Landed a few first serves and is off and running in this quarterfinal.
Sabalenka leads 4 games to 1, first set.
Good news is at the moment, second serve looking pretty solid right now for Sabalenka. Is there anything technically you've noticed with that second serve this year, Chanda, or do you think it's more just a confidence issue?
Yeah, it seems to be more between the ears for Sabalenka, and she's kind of talked about that. Can see no real difference in her motion, in the technique on the serve.
14-0.
And I think as she relaxes in some of these situations, you see the double faults less and less. I mean, she would always throw in the occasional double fault because a lot of times she's hitting the second serve just as big as the first.
Game, Sabalenka.
So another very quick-fire hold from Aryna Sabalenka, just 24
Sabalenka
minutes on the
leads
clock.
5
And
games to 1.
she's a
First
game
set.
away from taking the opening set here.
I think the questions about the Sabalenka serve were always began to come as a result of her seeming to not be able to get a serve in for stretches in a match. That is what was unusual, but she seemed to manage it well. And these are two of the players who are at the top of the list in terms of aces and being able to get free points on their serve. They are in the top 5 of the WTA rankings in that category. Right now, Karolina Pliskova is struggling to get that first serve in, and that hasn't been the case all tournament long.
Yeah, I think in the third set against Victoria Azarenka, she missed 2 first serves the whole set. She was up at about 90% first serves in. Yeah, it's just a little too short. Allows Sabalenka to pounce on it. Another forehand winner. Oh, and how about that for a return?
So that ball is on Pliskova and by her before she's even out of the serve.
The blink of an eye, she has 2 set points.
Let second set.
That's one of the few points that Pliskova has been able to win behind her second serve.
Let's look at Sabalenka's team. Anton Dubrov, her coach, former hitting partner of hers.
Please.
We spoke about the double faults in Aryna Sabalenka. It's been Karolina Pliskova who they've been hurting a little bit more in this opening set. That's her 5th. And a 3rd set point will follow. Sealed in style. A joy to watch Aryna Sabalenka when she plays like that against a somewhat flat and under par Karolina Pliskova. Oh, wow. Well, we've seen a lot of power and brutality from Sabalenka today, but how about those hands?
Yeah, it's another one of those moments where Pliskova looked like she was really putting some effort into this point, but no chance to feel on that half volley.
Just hearing, Chandra, it was actually Aryna Sabalenka who called for the physio, but then cancelled it. We're not entirely sure why she called the physio or why she cancelled it.
Sometimes it's good to have a physio sort of sitting, you know, courtside, ready. Locker rooms aren't that far, but when you get to this stage of the tournament, these are big matches. You don't want to lose any time.
Yeah, she did take a medical timeout in her last match, Aryna Sabalenka, against Danielle Collins.
40-15.
Huge serving again. Not missing many, 73% in the match, first serves in.
So you see Pliskova kind of putting her arms up as if to say, it's too good, what do I do?
She can't believe she's missed that one.
40-13.
This is why it's been a little cooler today. A lot of cloud cover. Had some sprinkles early this morning, but they've been able to start on time on all the outside courts.
A huge first serve from Aryna Sabalenka. And another very comfortable hold.
First game, second set.
Yeah, I thought this match might be played under the roof. When we came in this morning, the roof was closed, but fortunately it looks as though we're not going to get any rain, so they've got it open, which of course is what we want. It's still pretty humid outside, even though the temperatures have dropped. It's still upwards of 80% humidity today.
Well, when you have that much humidity, it can actually feel a little cooler when there's no sun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's understandable. You need a sweater.
Which I don't have. Kind of feel like this is a big game right now for Karolina Pliskova, just for her own belief more than anything.
We always look at being sort of a set and a breakdown, especially if it's very early in the second set, as, you know, point where you start to ring the alarm and say, okay, this match is slipping away very quickly. Got to do something to change up. But it would be big if Pliskova could hold here and just keep herself even in the early stages of this second set.
3 first serves landed will help as well, something that she wasn't really able to do too much in the opening set. Make that all 4, so good positive start for Karolina Pliskova in this second. Something to build on here.
One game more.
Right, will do their best to try and get behind her as well. Doubt it really has been a rough 9 months for Karolina, down at 22 in the world at the moment, former world #1, of course. Just overpowering her again, Sabalenka.
15-11.
Sabalenka has been so impressive in that last match against Collins, where she just raised her level in the second set midway through. and started hitting winners. Would have 38 winners over the course of that match, just 28 unforced errors. Those are good numbers.
30 love.
This match, the differential's been a little more even, but Sabalenka hasn't had to do as much.
Well, for those of you watching that left us when we had a look at the stats, 1 winner and 15 unforced errors for Karolina Pliskova in that opening set. There won't have been too many sets that Karolina Pliskova has played over her career where she's only had the single winner. It's her 14th winner for Sabalenka today.
Oh.
Fault. 40-15.
Just got the numbers through from Hawkeye Chanda in terms of how fast these two are hitting off both wings. Sabalenka 75 miles an hour on average behind the forehand compared to 69 miles an hour for Pliskova, and 71 behind the backhand, 64 for Pliskova. So really out-hitting her off both wings so far. And a nice start to this second set. Stays out in front and leads 2-1.
2 games to 1 second set, and by 1 set to love.
So still on serve in this second set, 1-2.
Fifteen love.
You mentioned, Adam, how Sabalenka's basically out-hitting Pliskova from the ground. Off the forehand side, Sabalenka's about 6 miles per hour bigger. That's a huge difference. And on the backhand, it's even more. And that is what we didn't expect today.
Yeah.
Pliskova's got another advantage here on serve, but you can kind of look at Pliskova's body and some of these shots. She's falling backwards a little bit more, not leaning on the ball the way Sabalenka is, and you can lose those extra miles per hour very quickly.
First point that she's lost on serve in the second set for Pliskova.
So much of this game comes from the legs, and the serve for Pliskova, that's where she's struggling to kind of get the legs fully into her shot consistently. Also has an effect from the ground.
Well, one of the longer exchanges of this match, and it goes the way of Karolina Pliskova. He's doing a good job so far in this second. Jez Green up on his feet, trying to get behind her.
Second set.
Well, usopen.org is your online home for point-by-point live scoring, highlights, real-time stats and draws. You can visit the official tournament site at usopen.org. Leos Friedel there, very good doubles player himself, got to about 14 in the world in the dubs. Olga Savchuk behind him as well, kind of an advisor to Karolina Pliskova.
15 love.
Actually bumped into Jez Green yesterday, Chanda, and I just asked him what he's been doing with Karolina Pliskova, and they started working together after Wimbledon, and he just said, what have I been doing? Movement, 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 movement.
Did I count 8?
13 love.
So yeah, pretty obvious.
Yeah, I mean, I have felt that Pliskova has been moving better, and so you can definitely see the effects of that work. Maybe today a little different issue in terms of the energy and overall fatigue.
Let's versus.
You know, the gray skies right now, that doesn't help. You get a little sun, get you moving a little bit more. But Pliskova, at least in this set, has made a stand.
Big return from Pliskova. Dropped in the crowd.
15.
Sabalenka has that ability to take the racket out of an opponent's hand.
Yeah, she's just making so many first serves, Aryna Sabalenka. And she hits the front again. 3-2 ahead.
Sabalenka leads 3 games to 2 second set, and by 1 set to love.
They just cannot afford to give her any
Love
time
15.
to wind up on that forehand side. Well done. Karolina Pliskova just stood firm. Good hands.
15 all.
This is good fighting from Pliskova. Staying firm, but still relaxed enough to handle all of that pace coming at her.
Let's versus. Third 15.
That's another terrific
40,
serve
15.
from Pliskova. Starting to mix the serve up just enough to keep Sabalenka off balance.
Well, we knew that first serve percentage had to go up in this second set for Pliskova. 40% first serves in that opening set, but it's up at 80% so far in the second, so giving Sabalenka much fewer looks behind the second, which is important for her. Yeah, she loved that one again, Sabalenka, but Pliskova comes through. 3 games all now.
3
It's
games
also
to
been
second
important to Pliskova's rhythm. It's hard to really settle into a good rhythm when there's so many stops and starts. You're hitting, you know, a lot of serves, first, second serves, every single point, and you just can't kind of settle into the match. Pliskova now really has her teeth into this one. Sometimes, you know, when you're a little bit fatigued, you think about trying to hit a bigger serve to get, you know, a quicker point or a free point, and you miss it, and it's actually more energy having to hit 2 serves every time. Start getting more first serves in, can manage your energy a lot better as well.
That was a great return from Pliskova. Just stepped up a little bit there inside the baseline, took it very early, trying to take the time away from Sabalenka. Hasn't really been in this position today. Love 30.
Let's persist.
It almost looked like Pliskova guessed right. She was leaning in that direction, moving that way. The serve was still so big, 117 miles per hour, and had a little bit of side spin on it.
Fastest serve of the match. Follows it up with a very good one. Out wide on that ad side. Still yet to face a break point today, Aryna Sabalenka.
Incredible serving down, love 30. Comes up with 3 huge serves.
Make it 4 huge first serves. What a response that was from Sabalenka from love 30 down. She's 2 games away from the semi-finals.
Sabalenka leads 4 games to 3. Second set, and by 1 set to love. Love 15.
The service dominated so far in the second set. No break points to call upon us yet. But under pressure now, Karolina Pliskova.
Love 30.
Sabalenka was love 30 down in her last service game. She found 4 big first serves to get herself out of trouble. Can Pliskova do likewise? There's one.
15-30.
Sabalenka had a good look at that pass.
Left versus. Left versus.
Yeah, had the second serve, knew that this is a big opportunity at 30 all, and Sabalenka has break point that would give her the opportunity to try and close this match out.
That's coming up with the goods under pressure there. You have to feel that losing serve here would feel like the match for Pliskova.
Advantage, Pliskova. Game.
Oh, what a massive hold that is from Karolina Pliskova. Saves the break point and levels us up again. 4 games all.
4 games all. Second set.
What a point from Aryna Sabalenka. Brutal hitting from the back of the court.
It's one thing you continuously see in Sabalenka's game, that she doesn't sort of hold on to lost opportunities or mistakes. She'll miss a ball, didn't capitalize and get the break, comes right back at her opponent.
Love.
It's been quick and frenetic stuff. First hour on court.
Yeah, it's a good return, a better return from Pliskova up the middle with depth. Feels like a much safer return, but it can still be difficult to handle. clutch has Sabalenka been on serve here? I mean, there were multiple moments in this set where Pliskova could have easily sort of turned things around. So far, Sabalenka is not letting her in.
Pretty
delighted with what they've seen so far, the Sabalenka camp. Fell off that forehand a little bit, so 40-15 to deuce.
That is what Pliskova, her team, could hope for. Just one or two misses like that where Pliskova could have some opportunities. Has yet to get a break point, Pliskova.
Good second serve from Sabalenka. I was intrigued to see what kind of second we saw there. First one that she's really had to deal under pressure today.
And it was interesting, Pliskova was moving in. I mean, she was in front of the baseline trying to take that serve early. A lot of pace from Sabalenka.
Wow, what did that count? Sabalenka comes through the game and is one game away from reaching the semi-finals again.
Sabalenka leads 5-4, second set, and by 1 set to love. Left.
Come on. Let's go, doggy.
Did well just to use the pace of that return, Pliskova.
Left versus. That
wide serve is a good one because even if Sabalenka gets it back, it usually will give Pliskova something more in the middle of the court to hit.
Just the service game Karolina Pliskova would have been thinking of at the sit-down. Holds to love. 5 games all.
5 games all, second set.
Have met each other once before in a Grand Slam of Pliskova and Sabalenka. It came at Wimbledon last year. Sabalenka won the first set as well there before actually losing the match. 6-4 in the third. Pliskova was able to come through that one at the semi-final stage. Relentless on serve today. Nice. Did well to deal with that short return.
And she's been doing a good job of keeping her feet active, really moving forward. And even that last volley could have been a little trickier if she had let this ball drop. Good level of intensity cutting these balls off.
Quarterfinal.
Wow.
40-15.
That is a redirect.
So Sabalenka again cruises through the service game. And for the second time, Karolina Pliskova will have to hold serve to stay in it.
And by 1 set to love.
Oh, that is sensational from Sabalenka.
Love 15.
Just perfectly timed, and with Pliskova closing, had just that little bit of space up top. Beautifully done.
Did well there. I think she thought about taking that ball out of the air and then decided just to slam the brakes on. Good second serve.
30-15.
Deep into the body. Such good work with Andy Murray, Alexander Zverev, to Jez Green. Oh, wow.
Yeah, that last serve into the body, it jammed Sabalenka more. That one, Pliskova just didn't quite hit her target, and Sabalenka with plenty of space to swing out on.
Oh, she has done brilliantly well there, Pliskova. It was an amazing return from Sabalenka.
40-13.
You won't see a squash shot much better than this, especially considering the timing of it.
Did a great job to come
Pliskova.
through that game. Karolina Pliskova from 30 all under pressure. As said, that squash shot that she went to on the forehand, absolutely amazing to find a shot like that at that kind of time. So a tiebreaker we go. Hour and a quarter on court.
Really encouraging to see Pliskova the fist pump after winning that game. As we look at the tiebreak records, and both players pretty decent, a winning percentage when it comes to tie breaks.
Second serve again.
1-0.
Sabalenka, she's not holding back either, nearly 100 miles an hour.
It's been a really interesting turnaround, though, in this match from the first set to this second set. Pliskova has just elevated her level, and Sabalenka, she's stayed with her. Hasn't had a drop off.
Quality. Sabalenka gets the early mini break.
2-0.
Sometimes when you win a first set so easily, you can almost not be ready to battle and compete if your opponent starts playing a bit better. But Sabalenka, she's elevated as well.
Average rally length today, 3 shots. Point to come through for Pliskova.
2-1. Sabalenka.
Seen too much of that today.
2-1.
Pliskova continuing to just put pressure on. She's not giving Sabalenka any easy misses. This time in the match, that is exactly what you want to do.
Oh. I was a little concerned after the first serve because it landed nearer the baseline than the service line, but some response with the second.
And there's just nothing you can do about a second serve hit that well at you. Pliskova has responded beautifully here. Back on serve in this tiebreak.
Long, and for the second time, Sabalenka goes up the mini break. She's kept it all under control here, Sabalenka. As Janda said, sometimes when you do come through an opening set as comfortably as she did, just 28 minutes, dropped just the 1 game, clearly tell that Pliskova was struggling. You then get into the second and can almost catch you off guard when your opponent starts playing a little bit better, but She has just maintained this high level right throughout the match. 3 points away. Really smart. Recognised that she hit such a good return, it forced Pliskova back. And drop shot was always on, and it was played to perfection.
Now, when you're so used to hitting big, it's not easy to switch tracks and go to the drop shot, but Sabalenka seeing the court beautifully there.
So she wins both points on the Pliskova serve. Who says, I'm not done with yet.
Yeah, you could see Sabalenka kind of hesitate. She was coming in. It was a much better return from Pliskova than she was maybe expecting. And right there, just lost the positioning. And how good was Pliskova staying focused, hitting through that big lane.
Yeah, it was the previous backhand that did the damage.
6-3, Sabalenka.
3 match points for Aryna Sabalenka.
Thank you.
Good hands from Pliskova. She's been good at the net, especially in the second set. That's 7 of 8 points won.
Sabalenka.
She's got nice soft hands at the net as well.
Thank you.
And it's back-to-back US Open semi-finals for Aryna Sabalenka, who came out firing right from the start of this match. She really didn't give Karolina Pliskova a chance today. Finding her best tennis just at the right time, Sabalenka, and she'll take on either Iga Swiatek or Jessica Pegula in the semis. Comes through in straight sets, just 1 hour and 22 minutes, 6-1, 7-6.